I can feel it. He won't say it, but I can feel it. Is like eventually he's just like, dude, enough, Mighty Mouse, and like just gives me that little inside, just all right, just get off me. Welcome to this week's episode of the Behavior Movement. I am Brett Yaris, your host, trainer, behaviorist, and here with me, as always, is Lucas Niang, third-round draft pick of the Kansas City Chiefs. Today, we're gonna put the bulk of our focus on inside pass rush moves. But to do that, the first thing we have to do is get Lucas going and thinking outside pass rush first. This is where we start to get into this next tier of offensive tackle behavior, where we actually start to tackle the psychology and the mental behavior of the offensive tackles, where we get into the rep by rep or game by game strategy piece. Now, everything we've done to this point has been physical conditioning, okay? If this, then that, right? Working with you as a responder. Now today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our first round of repetitions as outside pass rushes. Last episode we finished with a free-for-all. If you remember what that is, that's where we work the whole session doing different pass rush moves, and then the last drill of the day I randomize those so that Lucas has to work on his latency. He has to work on his response time. Okay, and as he's successful, that shows us that he's a good responder. He's able to read and react very, very quickly, which is the key. Today, we're gonna flip the script a little bit. We're gonna start with a free-for-all. And the reason is we're gonna do 5 randomized outside pass rush moves, because I want Lucas to get really into that outside, defending that outside edge, because the corresponding drills that are gonna come after are gonna incrementally work him down the middle, then to the inside. And then we're gonna end with a free-for-all, where now Lucas has to be responsible and work on his response time for outside moves, 5 different ones, down the middle bull rushes, long arm or 2-arm, and then inside counters, when I take a step up the field and try to work back inside, and we're gonna really work that post step. So really what you're seeing in this episode is the beginning steps of bringing everything we've done so far from a physical perspective throughout this season of the behavior movement, and now applying it to the mental aspect. We're gonna start randomizing things. We're gonna start getting that brain having to think, really gonna work on eyes. You've heard me talk about Lucas's eyes, Ethan's eyes, all the different things we've done. This is where that comes into play. How fast can your eyes process what they're seeing and get you to respond physically in the right way? So that's what our focus is here today. So without further ado, let's line it up. Sit, go. Ready, sit, go. Go. Set. Go. All right, we just did 5 reps of outside pass rushes that were randomized. We did club rip. We did double swipe. We did long arm. All right. We did chop. All right, we threw a bunch of stuff at him, and 5 reps in a row, we got correct responses. And what is a correct response? If you recall earlier episodes, and I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and make sure you're watching them, because these are done in sequential order. And in one of the first episodes, we talk about the behavioral concept of chaining, okay? And chaining really just means that we're gonna keep adding links of the movement chain to the one that came before. And so these episodes are filmed in that way as well, all right? So I encourage you to go back and check those out. But what we've done here, what we're doing now, we just did 5 randomized outside pass rush moves. What we're now gonna do is work into the middle of Lucas's body. This is gonna work on his anchoring. This is where he's gotta prepare for both a long arm and a 2-arm bull rush, okay? And so like I was saying before, what's really great about that previous drill is each of those outside pass rush moves requires Lucas to respond in slightly different ways. Okay, if my inside arm is coming up, what we're seeing is that Lucas is gonna push that arm off with the inside arm and then get his hips around to make sure he is preparing for me coming back around the top of that hoop there. If we're looking at a double swipe move, what you're seeing Lucas do is flash his hand and then get 2 hands on. And Lucas is doing that without knowing which move is coming, which is a credit to Lucas and his latency, his ability to see a stimulus, my pass rush move, and provide the correct response, his behavior. So that's fantastic. Now we're gonna work our way into the inside here, and the first thing we're gonna do is come down the middle. We're gonna get 5 reps, okay, of bull rush down the middle. So we're gonna get Lucas in his stance, okay? I'm gonna come off the line. I'm gonna throw my hands inside here and try to walk him back. What we're looking to see is how many steps does Lucas take back. All right, I've been hitting the gym, been doing my squats, getting on long bike rides, really working my quads. I'm gonna do my best to push this man back, okay? So that's the first thing that we're looking for from Lucas's behavior. Does he anchor correctly? What does his body shape look like? Okay, is he too vertical and lean forward where I can easily kind of pull him forward? We're gonna find that out. All right, does he have that nice little C curve in his back like this, right here in the lower back? All right, let me see you hit that. All right, so boom, get right in here. Now, once he anchors, we're gonna see those hips come a little bit forward and we're gonna try to push him back. All right, and you see that nice tight core is engaged, keeping him nice and stable and steady. That's what we're looking for, 5 consecutive reps. That's it. Let's see how we go. That's it. Go. You're just having fun. All right, so we've already done 3 reps now, okay? And as you've seen in all 3 reps, I've lined up as a 5 technique. We talked about this in previous episodes, okay? A 5 technique, very quickly, is when I line up off the shoulder, the outside shoulder of the offensive tackle. So here, line up in your stance for me. Okay, I'm lined up here. My inside shoulder is right in line with his outside shoulder, okay? So right there is your 5 technique. Now, I did 3 reps as a 5 technique, and working with Lucas, what he's been doing is a lot of that vertical setting, okay? Preparing for situational stuff, especially on known passing downs. We're gonna see a lot of the vertical setting, getting to his anchor point. Usually works well against the bull rush, by the way, because that's the whole point of getting to your anchor point where you can anchor. But now what we're gonna do is, and this is something that Lucas has pointed out, given his experience playing offensive tackle, being in Kansas City's training camp, understanding what's expected of him, as a 5 technique, okay, if Lucas lines up and he sees me in a 5, he's probably not gonna vertical set because of our closeness and proximity to one another. As a 5 technique, I'm already right up on him, which means our point of engagement is probably gonna happen much sooner. So what Lucas is gonna do on these final 2 reps, he's gonna jump set me, okay? And what a jump set is, he's gonna hop in his set, on ready, set, go. I'm gonna take my step across the line, and he's gonna literally jump out in front of me and take me on the contact right away. What you're gonna see is, you're gonna see a very short and quick lateral burst this way. What you're not gonna see is big steps taking him vertically down the field. And now what that's gonna do is, that's gonna even further impede my progress to the quarterback. So if I'm intent on bull rushing as a 5 technique, what we're gonna see, okay, is that I'm gonna have to take on his contact right away. Ready, set, go. Boom, we're already in contact with one another, and therein lies the problem. Now, what Lucas has to focus on first and foremost is when he gets laterally bursted into that jump set, he's got to have center point of balance. He can't be leaning to the outside. He can't be leaning to the inside. He's got to come and get in that really good power base when he lands in his jump set, so he can anchor right at the point of contact. So this is about timing, this is about strategy, and of all, it's about understanding your environment. Where I line up as a pass rusher impacts the environmental responses of the offensive tackle I'm lined up against. Let's see how it plays out here. Let's line it up. That's it. Go. What's funny is eventually when I do these bull rush drills with Lucas, I can feel it. He won't say it, but I can feel it. Is like eventually he's just like, dude, enough, mighty mouse, and like just gives me that little inside, just all right, just get off me. Man, these NFL players, they're powerful, man. It's you know, it's not your everyday run-of-the-mill guy. Let's be clear about that. There's a reason these guys are getting paid to do this. Okay, time for phase 3 of today's session. This is now, we're gonna further move inside. We started outside, 5 reps. We went down the middle, 5 reps. Now we're gonna work inside counters. What this is gonna look like from a pass rushing perspective, the environmental simulation I'm trying to give Lucas, right? To best simulate the environment he needs to behave in. That's what this is all about, okay? That's why we're doing what looks like live reps, because it's all about simulating the environment that our responder, our learner, our athlete needs to behave in, okay? So we can't be doing drills that don't actually serve a functional purpose for this guy on the football field, all right? So what we're doing now, I'm gonna line up in either a 7 technique, okay? This is outside where the tight end would be lined up, or I'm gonna be in a 5 technique, okay? This is, again, shoulder to shoulder, my inside to his outside shoulder, okay? So as your 7 or your 5, I'm gonna be lined up in either one. Now at this point, what you're gonna see as we work inside counter moves. Why are they inside counter moves? They're counters for me, the pass rusher. I'm gonna take a step up, try to get my guy moving upfield. Once I feel like he's there, I'm gonna try to cross his face and come back inside. I'm gonna do this with what we call like an up and under. I'm gonna kind of do an inside club rip kind of a deal here. So what it's gonna look like, I'm gonna come up, he's gonna come. Once I see the hands throw, I'm gonna take my inside hand now and try to club his hands in, rip under, and get inside lane to the quarterback, okay? My goal is to do that pretty well. The question really is, what is Lucas's goal? What behaviors does Lucas need to have in order to best do that? So let's check that out right here. All right, Lucas gets in his stance, same thing. I'm coming up the field. What we want to see, he's got to respect my outside pass rush, right? Because if he doesn't respect that, I'll just continue to the outside. No reason for me to counter in. So he's got to respect that outside edge, okay? Now, once he throws the hands and I make my move, what we've got to see Lucas do is take this leg, okay, this inside leg, and he's got to kick it back lateral. These feet got to get lateral now as he posts inside. As he's posting inside, we got to see that shift in body shape. Okay, what do I mean by body shape? Let's take a look at Lucas's body shape in an outside pass rush. When I'm outside and we got hands on, boom, boom, body shape, outside shoulder elevated, inside shoulder slightly declined, outside hip elevated. He's got that nice, strong, stable edge here on the outside. Once I cross his face, that's got to reverse. We got to see a shift in body shape. Hands got to switch, high and low, elevated, declined, hip elevated. This foot got to get lateral, and now we're going to laterally move down into our post step. We see that. That's a correct response from Lucas. We get 5 of those in a row. We're moving on to the final free-for-all. Let's line it up. Go. Set. Go. Set. Go. Set. Go.
That reach.
Keep going. Listen, let me tell you why that just happened, okay? On the surface, that looks like a shit rep, okay? On my part, it looks like I just didn't give him a good look. But here's what happened. We talked about this, okay? What happens when I'm in a 5 tech? What is Lucas most likely to do in his stance, okay? And what we've talked about is making sure he quick strikes, he quick sets. He gets in front right away, not taking that vertical set that we've been showcasing throughout the season. He takes that quick set and he strikes right away. Big outside strike. Well, here's what happened on that rep. He did that perfectly, and he caught me so good with that outside hand, it stunned me. And so I just had nothing left to give on that inside. Now, again, I'm not an NFL level pass rusher, okay? Is that likely to go down exactly as you just saw it? Probably not. But here's what we do know. We do know about physics. And we know that as I'm trying to get my momentum started, if before I can even take my first step, even if I'm 6'4", 245 pounds, okay, that first stun is gonna slow me down. It's gonna take me off my path, my plan. And then when I try to work back inside, it's easy peasy for my guy here, okay? And so that's why we do these things, while we rep these drills, so you can see some of that stuff. A lot of times what looks like a really bad rep is just him being really good against a non-NFL level opponent, okay? So for us as behaviorists, okay, our job is to see what can we take away from that rep and make sure that it's applicable and functional, okay, to what he's gonna be facing in his environment. And the technique is the key there. Hitting that outside piece and then making sure he gets into that post step the way he did. It was fantastic, all right? Let's line it up. All right, we made it to the final phase of today's session, okay? Today's episode of the behavior movement. This is my favorite part. We kind of started the session off in a free-for-all. We actually repeated the same free-for-all we did at the conclusion of our last session, okay? Which was a randomized selection of outside pass rush moves. And then we spent the bulk of today after that working on down the middle and inside counters. Well, guess what? Now, today's free-for-all, this is where we kind of do our testing, our in-phase testing. As a behaviorist, it's all about data, right? We got to understand how many correct responses against how many incorrect responses. Lucas is on a pretty good run, so my data collection's been pretty easy, okay? But now this is the fun part, all right? This is where we randomize it. Lucas has no idea what's coming. There is nothing to prepare for. Now it's all about latency. It's all about how much can he see a stimulus and respond correctly to that stimulus, okay? Behavior is all about responses to what's going on around you in your environment, no matter what it is. I am what's going on around him in his environment. My pass rush move is his stimulus. Depending on the move that I do, Lucas has a specific response he needs to show. The quickness between the sight of the stimulus and the response is what we're always continuously working on decreasing, okay? The better and quicker he can respond and react to what he sees, the better he's gonna do on the football field. So you're gonna get 5 reps here of randomized moves. Could be some outside, could be some bull, could be some inside, could be all outside, could be all inside. He doesn't know. All right, so that's what we have to do here. We're gonna randomize it. We're gonna check his latency. We're going for 5 consecutive correct responses. Any mess ups, we go back to 0. We try it again. Haven't had to do it yet. It means I'm losing every single time, but that's a good thing. Me losing means he's winning, and that's what we're here for at the Behavior Movement. Let's line it up. Set, go. Trying to get a close up on my loss. Is that what you're doing? Set. Go. Set.
I step forward too.
Go.
That's the away from